Hello.
And welcome to
The Mental Moshpit. Yeah. This is Hanna, and I am Eric, and...
this week's episode is all about imposter syndrome and mental health.
Yeah, let's dive in.
What is this podcast all about, Eric?
This podcast is about... we're creatives. We play in a band. Hanna and I play in a progressive metal band. We're also married. We're significant to others. And we're big on mental health. So especially...
We're big on mental health and music.
And music, yeah, obviously.
Duh.
We love all kinds of music. And we're pretty eclectic when it comes to just being into supporting local artists or, stuff that we grew up on or any of that stuff. So,
let's talk a little bit first about what imposter syndrome is.
Yeah.
Do you want to know the definition or you want me to?
Yeah, go for that definition. I'm going to take a sip of my whiskey.
Okay, sounds good. Imposter syndrome is the condition of feeling anxious and not experiencing success internally despite having high-performing external objective ways.
Cool.
So, in what ways have you felt imposter syndrome?
Oh, man. Imposter syndrome sucks.
But we all experience it.
Yeah. That definition is too real because I've just felt that at various times in life, whether it was going to play at a large venue and loading in and just looking at pro gear or whatever that other people have, and it's just this little grinding thing in the back of your mind of like, oh, you might not be good enough to do this. And yeah, it's all bullshit.
True.
Yeah, I call it the saboteur, the little person in your brain that's carrying a sword that's just cutting you down. And it sucks. It's totally bullshit, and it's unnecessary.
You know what's interesting? I just thought about it right now. Our new song is about that.
Yeah.
But I didn't think about it in the sense of it's imposter syndrome I'm talking about, but it totally is.
Yeah, it is.
Because it's the voice in the back of your head. All the negative
Shout
things.
out to Hannah's lyrics on Head Underwater.
No, that's the new one.
Well, I guess, oh yeah, you're right. Huh.
I'm talking about Own Worst Enemy or whatever the name will be.
Yeah, look at that.
Interesting.
Easter eggs.
Okay, anyways.
Yeah, that actually, just to sidebar for a second, probably the antithesis of imposter syndrome. How did you feel when everybody... so just to back up, we played Foco MX this last weekend. It was incredible and crazy. If you've never been to Foco MX, it started out with, I think, 50 to 100 bands on 10 stages. And then it's just grown every year. So now it's 400 plus bands on, I think, 30 plus stages in Fort Collins. It's all Colorado bands. And we feel very honored. We were asked again. We've played it the last couple of years. So this was our third year in a row. We were very, very young as a band when we played our first year. But just to tie this together, how did you feel when we were invited to play the after party right after? And I just looked out. We were playing that new song, and I looked at everybody. They were just entranced by you. And you were just singing My Own Worst Enemy. And they were all just like, holy shit. And how did that feel to get the other side of that?
It was cool to see people into it, and I felt like people connected with the lyrics. And I think we all deal with this. So I really hope the song will be really impactful and meet a lot of people, really hit people hard. I felt like that at the after party, that people were like, whoa, interesting. Yeah. And they got into it because they felt it. So I hope it continues like that.
Yeah. So let me ask you kind of what you asked me, what is a scenario that you felt imposter syndrome? What comes up like in your mind?
Well, first thing, joining the band. Because I hadn't been in a band and just growing. And I honestly had a lot of great feedback from people throughout the 2 years we've been a band. But I've also got a lot of shit feedback from people, or like mean things said to me.
Oh, yeah. We all know about the mean things said to you.
Oh, yeah. One, in my head.
We can talk about it. So,
and two, just people in general, which the good things have.
What the fuck? It didn't even stop.
That's so strange. Okay.
We're going to leave that. So Hannah was talking, and the ghost muted us.
Dude, it's gonna be every episode.
That's fucking weird.
Leave me alone, ghost. What the fuck? Where was
That
I
was
at
so
now?
weird. Talk about, like, you know, being inside your head first. Then we'll talk about mean, shitty people.
Yeah, I think first I was saying just like there's been a lot of the good things have much outweighed the bad things said. And I think the imposter syndrome, whenever the bad things are said from other people, comes out inside my own head, because then I'm like, oh yeah, see, I knew I wasn't good enough, you know, or I told you so. But then really then other people say things like you killed it or awesome. And I'm not like, now I don't need that as much. But then when we started the band, it was really, really hard because it felt like I needed that from people to know that I was good, and I was actually like meeting people's expectations, and they wanted to come back and see us. So
Right.
I think it's been kind of a weird like, oh, but now I think I'm stepping into my own shoes enough that I'm like, heck yeah, I can kill this. I think we go to big shows and I'm like, oh fuck, what did we get ourselves into? Like, we're a small little band still, but then I'm like, maybe we're not anymore.
What's
growing,
a show that, like, comes up in your mind for that one?
Definitely the Gothic was one. The Gothic was one for sure. And then I don't know, all the Folk MX ones are always like sold out and so much fun, so that always feels like weird.
Yeah.
But then I get on stage and it feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and just to reiterate for people that are listening, in November, so 4 months ago, 5 months ago.
That's longer than that. What month do you think we're in?
We're in April. It's like
6 months?
Not really. It was the end of November. That's all right. Marital strife. I'm just kidding.
He's like, month ago.
It was like November 30th. Anyway, doesn't matter. But that show, that was pretty crazy for all of us. That was also like Dave's second show, our drummer, playing in the band. Talk about a walk-in. You play one little show, and then your second show is playing direct support for Headbang and Cottonmouth Kings.
He killed it.
So did you. I think you guys all did fantastic. Speaking
I think
of,
we're in an even better spot now.
My shit wasn't working on stage, and I about shit myself on the stage. It was just my wireless. It was like,
been interesting to
oh my
see.
God, I freaked out. But anyway, imposter syndrome. I do want to say one thing before we get into mean people that add to that rumination that we do in our mind. To me, imposter syndrome is just like this unnecessary feedback loop where you're like, oh my God, I'm not good enough. And then you're like, oh my God, I'm telling myself I'm not good enough. And then you're like, oh my God, I'm mad at myself for telling myself that I'm not good enough. Oh my God, what the fuck am I doing? And it just keeps going around and around, and it's just shitty. But when I think of imposter syndrome as a whole, I just think of the way we were raised. I mean, we were raised on standardized tests that told us we weren't good enough. And we were raised on going to timeout when we did something wrong. I think the biggest part of imposter syndrome for me is failing, and failing with intent, and learning to fail in a way that teaches you.
Fail forward.
Fail forward, exactly. I can hear your mom saying that right now. Hannah's mom is a life coach and career coach, and she's
actually
all-round badass.
counselor now.
Counselor now. I mean, God, what doesn't she do?
Psychedelic counselor coming.
Yeah,
up.
hell
I can't
yeah.
remember the exact term.
Pretty cool.
Ask her about.
But I mean, I just think of all these things, and I think of we've been built to just keep criticizing ourselves. That's literally our American way.
It's like the way society is now. It's like, oh, you have to bash on somebody to feel good about yourself? What the fuck? It shouldn't be that way.
Those are all instantaneous highs. I mean, lots of people live one high to the next. It's like this moral righteousness kind of thing. And I'm not going to lie. I've done it myself. I catch myself doing it all the time. And then I have to back off and be like, why the fuck am I doing that?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting because I don't remember where I heard it, but we've talked about it before that... Is it still going? Okay,
yeah.
good.
Yeah, you're good.
We've talked about it before that voice in your head, it isn't you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you shouldn't be listening to it. Partially it's you, but partially it's not. It's also the feeling of, but every little thing that comes to your head, sometimes there's weird shit you think about and you're like, what the fuck? Where did that come from?
Hey, listen up, listeners. I want to tell you one thing right now. We are wrong all the time. That's why our memories are always kind of embellished, because we fill in the gaps for the things that our brain forgets. Well, that's not a trustworthy source. So why would you believe it all the time? In fact, you should always question your thoughts. And that's something that I am trying to go into this second part of 2024 doing for myself.
You can hear your thoughts, but always trust your gut. Your thoughts aren't your gut. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your thoughts can be telling you something totally different than what your gut is saying. And we've always learned you don't go wrong if you trust your gut.
Yeah. Totally.
Interesting.
Yeah. Interesting comments and topics. If you're listening to this, we would love if you would maybe comment down on Facebook, Instagram, wherever you find this, and YouTube, and just share your experiences of either that dumb feedback loop or imposter syndrome.
When you felt it in your life, and how you've maybe overcome it, or if you're still struggling with it, we can all help each other.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one big thing that we did as We Rise, the communal we, this band was founded on the idea that, man, there's so much division, so much divisive narrative, and so many people just pissed and polarized and on one side or the other. And how many times I log on to Instagram or Facebook like, this band or this band, there's no in between, pick one. And it's like, who cares? Why not both? Yeah. I'm a musician. I like supporting music.
Exactly. We're all connected. We're all one.
Yeah.
It's the reason I got the flower of life on my palm tattooed.
Yeah. It's a
We're all
tattoo.
connected.
I don't know how the hell you did that. It's a big tattoo.
I love it. All right, so the next part of this episode is all about mental health, and we really are trying to pride ourselves on talking about mental health. A lot of our music's about mental health and community, and really talking about the big topics that nobody talks about.
Togetherness.
Yeah, exactly. It's important to talk about these things, and they're oftentimes swept under the rug because they're uncomfortable, or you think you're the only one dealing with these things,
Right.
but these mental health topics are big and important, and some of us have felt them, some of us haven't, but we're all in this together. So it's important to get it out there and find community and know you're not alone.
Well, and I think one thing that we kind of skated over a little bit is we talked about us bullying ourselves, but we didn't talk about bullying. And that's something that we see in the scene a good amount. I was actually just even at Foco MX the other day, and somebody came up to me in the green room for all the artists and mentioned how another artist had called them out online and said something really nasty about their band publicly, and just told them to get out of the scene. And I mean, he was really fired up about it, and this was like 6 months ago. And I just told him, I was like, hey man, I tried to really just flip the conversation because I could tell he was just really upset. And I said, you know what? I said, that's amazing that you put all that negative energy into your music. And that I'm sorry that you went through that. Because A, that's not right. B, if I would have seen it, I would have actually probably gone a little bit further in letting you guys know that I support you. But here I am right now saying, hey, I'll always support you guys. I appreciate what you do for the scene, what you add to the scene. Let's talk just for a short minute. This is big mental health stuff. How have you dealt with bullying?
I think just like knowing who I am and like knowing that I'm a really nice person and I want the best and I want to just connect with people. I don't mean anybody any ill intent, and especially when I'm out on the stage and someone comes out and they're like, were you like inhaling, like screaming? And I'm like, what the fuck? Or like, yeah, that was not metal enough. Or you can tell they're judging me for like being a female in the metal scene, which is, it always shocks me, but I'm like, now it mostly rolls off my back.
Yeah.
But sometimes people say things and I'm like, why do you have to be mean? Just be nice. Like, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Right.
And that's the way I've tried to live my life, my whole life. And I've never tried to stray from that. So whenever people are mean, I'm like, I just don't get it.
Well, I have a specific story for you that involves you.
Okay.
I was on the stage in Denver and I heard somebody that was part of the sound crew talking shit about you. And I just decided from that, they actually play in a local band.
Oh,
yeah. And I just
okay.
decided from that moment forward, I never want to support their band.
Yeah.
I don't want to further their message because she literally did it with the ability for us to hear it. Like, I think she wanted us to hear it.
Mm-hmm. But then acted nice to our face the rest of the night. And
still does.
That fakeness that, like, I don't stand for it anymore. Yep. And I don't want to be your friend if it's not going to be real. I'm going to be real 100%. I show up on stage 100%. Eric does. Micus does. Sights does. All of us do. Yeah. Because we're real. We want you to be able to connect with us. And the fakeness, the not nicety, like, we're just going to seek it out and stay the fuck away from it, which is best for our mental health.
And shout out to sound crews. If you're going to talk shit about the people on the stage, hit the mute button on your microphone on the console. Just FYI.
True. True. You're not going to like everybody.
Yeah. That's
okay. And that's for music listeners. That's for sound crew. That's for other bands. You're not going to like everybody you play with. You're not going to like every band you go and see. And that's okay. But why be mean about it? Right. There's no reason. Your opinion's your opinion, but just leave it alone.
Well, and I've decided, because I love everybody else in that band, that I'm just going to support them all individually.
Yeah.
And I still do. Like, I still like all their shit when it's posted by the other people and everything. Just because there's one bad apple doesn't mean I'm going to condemn the rest of the band and what they create musically.
100%, yeah.
But that's really important for me.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's one that sticks out in my brain because, me,
especially like
me being your husband,
females,
I was fucking pissed.
Let's talk about this for a second. Females in the fucking scene, whether you're a listener or you're a musician, be nice to each other. Holy shit, life is hard enough for females. Life is scary enough for females. Going out in public alone, doing things, life is scary for us. Be fucking nice. And if you're all playing music, it's all hard for different reasons for different people. So
have some empathy.
Have some empathy. Support. Like 100%.
I wonder if they even noticed that we used to go to all their shows and then we just stopped.
I mean, probably not. Anyway,
doesn't matter.
Which is fine. It's a good thing. It's separated the negative boundary, and now we're both doing better things positively.
All right, so we've tackled already bullying ourselves and treating ourselves shitty. Mm-hmm. We've tackled other people bullying us, which I also have my own stories about. I dealt with somebody for about 5 years that constantly bullied me. I mean, online, in person if I saw them. They vandalized my car with a whole group of people. They would come to my last band's shows and break CDs on the stage while I was performing and flip me off and get a mob together. Like, I actually thought I was going to eventually get jumped off the stage. And it was terrifying. It was honestly terrifying.
So fucked up.
And I just made it really clear to the people that I was playing with at the time, like, if you associate with these people, you're fucking out of my life. Like, because your silence is you being complicit.
Totally.
And so, you know, at one point I even reached out to the director of a music association to find support, and she did. She paired me up with somebody that had dealt with stuff like that, and she encouraged me to keep contacting the police. And you know, even like a year or two ago, the guy came out again on me on social media just for me commenting somebody's page about my band's show. So there are just people, I guess I live rent-free in his head, but I decided, you know, I let that eat up years of my life. And I decided, man, why would I let that guy live in my head? What a sad, sorry individual that he needs to hyper-focus in on somebody else's life and try to make them feel like shit. Totally. What a terrible existence.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel about bullies. It's always to elevate themselves. What does Mudvayne say? Do I pull you up just to push you down again? Like, that's, I mean, that's really what that's about.
Yeah.
So there's my thought on bullying, whether it's us bullying ourselves or other people dealing with it. Honestly, take a deep breath. We only have this moment. We're going to be dead soon. Like, take a deep breath.
Don't be around the people that don't make you feel good.
Exactly.
Like, be around people that are doing something and being positive, and
people that can't talk about their emotions and what they're dealing with and why they're upset are not, they're regressed. They're regressed mentally to the point where they cannot, they can't level with people in a way that allows them to express their emotions and find some sort of common ground with that other person. And that's really a shame. So I hope that everybody, speaking of that saboteur for yourself, get the balls, get the gumption to stand up to that person or to stand up to your own saboteur and say, hey, fuck you. I'm serious. Hey, fuck you. I'm not going to take it anymore. And guess what? You're going to feel better.
Yeah.
Just by that little action. It's all little baby steps.
And I also think we need to talk about what you said a little bit, because I don't think it's everybody that can't talk about their emotions.
No, I agree with
I
you.
don't think it's everybody at all. I think there's certain people that are honestly going to be stuck in their ways forever and aren't going to be able to talk about it, and that's who they are. But I also think that there's people out there that maybe have had a lot of trauma and they don't feel like they can, or they don't feel like there's people out there for them to talk about it with, or they're just feeling stuck.
Now let's divide this, though. The people that feel that way and keep to themselves are sad, and I hope that they find some sort of therapy situation or some sort of catalyst that makes them want to talk about things.
Which
However,
you can reach out to National Suicide Prevention Lifeline.
Yep.
Or apps like Headspace or Talkspace. These resources offer various forms of support tailored to individual needs, empowering people to prioritize their mental health. So please reach out if you feel like you need to.
Right, but let's hold on. This is
that's important.
I know it's importante. I agree, but let's split these. Those are the people that are internally suffering and they're not taking it out on other people. Okay, and
they may be.
You're right.
They
Without
totally
even noticing. Yeah.
100%.
Let's keep in mind, inaction is a form of action in itself.
Yeah.
So that's true.
But people may be feeling stuck too, where they feel like they can't take action.
Inaction is a form of action, though. So that is them acting, whether they realize it or not. However, that's a lot, that's like a tiny little micro thing versus people going and taking out their upset bullshit on other people. And that's really, I've always called this, I've told your mom this even before, the fuck it bucket, where you have like this bucket that you've just been stuffing shit in it and it stinks. It's all the nasty shit you don't want to deal with. You've been putting it off, you put it in this bucket, and then you literally hold this bucket and it is between you and everybody else you talk to. So they deal with the stinky bullshit that you haven't dealt with. And so empty the fuck it bucket. If you need to go fucking to the archery range or go to the mountains and drink a beer way up there, or if you need to go bowling, whatever it is that follow your folly.
Let it out, but not at people.
Yeah. Hey, pick up a guitar. create some angry riffs, deal with it that way.
That's how you would.
That's how I deal with it. Yeah. You know, do the things that you need to do. I'm serious. All right. Hannah's like, damn, this snowballed.
Yes, it did.
It's good though.
Okay, finishing this up.
Well, we want to discuss mental health openly because it really just reduces the stigma and encourages seeking support. It's important because it promotes really a larger understanding, it promotes empathy, and it helps people gain access to resources for those struggling. Resources include things like therapy, support groups, hotlines like the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, As We Rise shows, online forums, and even mental health apps like Headspace, Talkspace. You know, there are forums all over online. There are even coaches that will talk live on different websites. So if you need help with that stuff, we'll start posting some of that stuff on our website here soon.
Yeah.
That's something that we want to do.
There's many resources out there. Don't feel like you're alone. There's people there who care, who are there to support you. So.
And legit, if you hear this podcast, I don't care if you're in freaking Europe or Mexico and you send us a message and you want to talk, we're here for you.
Yeah. My DMs are always open to support and care. And if you need somebody, I'm here.
Yeah.
Eric too.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Well, thank you all for joining us. We appreciate the support on this. It's actually been a lot warmer support than we realized for this podcast. And
do you think we should talk about what songs we've done around mental health, or should we do that next time?
No, let's do it.
I think we should real quick. I think it would fit in really well.
All right.
So let's start with the first one we ever wrote and just kind of go down the line.
So let me tell you about the first song that we wrote. It was actually something that was kind of already written, and Hannah dropped in, and I had already kind of had a little bit of a chorus idea, but we wrote really a chorus together, and then Hannah took off running with the verses, and that first song is about anxiety. If you want to go check out the lyric video for it, or even the lyrics on Spotify, but the lyric video is on YouTube on our channel.
It's about anxiety because I had so much fucking anxiety when joining a band, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, that I was like, what the hell do I write lyrics about? Oh yeah, this is what I'm feeling right now.
Yeah.
Ah! Okay. Yeah. And then another song. What did we release? Okay, so then like Wasteland was feeling like you were alone during COVID, and not feeling like you have people, which it doesn't even have to be during COVID, just feeling like you're alone. Yeah. Like you have people.
Well, that was another song that like, there were just a few songs that we had that I had written a chorus for and not written the rest of the song. I mean, musically written it, but like there were no other words for it. There was just a vocals for the chorus, and there were only like 2 or 3 of them that stuck, and that was one of them. Wasteland had this chorus that really just fit with COVID and everything that we were dealing with. I was so lonely. I had a band end, and I had actually written that song for that band. And through dealing with, speaking of people that were bullying, dealing with bullying and people that wouldn't listen to my words, I just took it elsewhere. I took the song over here, and I'm so glad I did. You wrote the best verse lyrics for that song, and the other couples that I brought choruses for, like, I can't even express. It was literally like finishing my thought. It was amazing. But Wasteland is a perfect song. Like,
same with Peace and Isolation, though. That one's about feeling like you're alone.
And that's all you, Hannah.
That one's like feeling like you're alone, and like imagine being in a room with tons and tons of other people, or you're at a show and you still feel alone. Like,
I think that's my favorite lyrical song of yours.
Really?
Yeah. Like, because it was the first time I heard you do lyrics. Oh, Spidey doesn't like that we picked that.
Dude, it's raining.
Is it? Oh yeah, it's been lightning and thundering the whole time we're doing this podcast.
Whoa.
We have candles on. It's perfect. If you all could be in here, you'd be like, whoa.
Yeah. And then Angst.
Yeah. Speaking of angst, hey, Spidey. Spidey just wanted... Oh, Cooper wants in on this, too. Spidey, come here, buddy. Come here, Spidey. You want to say hi to these people? What do you think? What do you think?
He's like...
He's just smiling at the microphone.
Angst, yeah, it was...
Those two songs, I couldn't believe it. When you first created those songs, I was like, whoa. Because my brain just doesn't work that way. And I honestly, I just feel super honored to play in a band with you because I think you're one of the best lyricists I have ever worked with.
I appreciate it.
And Spidey fucking agrees.
Thanks, Spidey.
Spidey, you agree?
Angst was about being in a abusive relationship and a mentally abusive relationship, and yeah, how fucked up that shit was.
Him, like you said at the end of that song, you know, he would have killed you if you didn't break free.
Yeah.
So I'm very, 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 very proud of you for, like, talk about coming full circle.
Yeah.
Like, it's impressive. I mean,
Thanks,
that song, totally impressive. So if anybody's ever going through some relationship abuse or, you know, feeling alone in your relationship and you know, any of that, like, God, that's a success story of taking all that negativity and finding your way out of it.
Yeah, you can do it.
Yep.
I did it. You can do it.
All right, so
and then Head Underwater.
Head Underwater is our latest release. Talk about dealing with feeling like you're drowning in
which
everything.
We've all felt for sure. Whether that's regular life, in your job, in things you have to do, in just house chores, and
family, work, school,
anything you can think of, just feeling like it's too much. Money, like, oh man.
Yeah.
Did we say finances? I may have already said that.
Hannah might have written that during our craziest financial time. Yeah, talk about.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck you, taxes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then what other songs? I think that's all we have out right now. Am I forgetting?
Oh, we have way more out.
Am I forgetting?
All right, let's talk about Fight for Life.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I love that one.
All right, Fight for Life was another one that I wrote a chorus, and really it was about just childhood abuse and dealing with just wishing that somebody would open the spotlight into how fucked up that childhood was. And I don't know. I wrote that chorus and then you killed it with the verses again. And I'm super glad I don't even write like that anymore with you, because Peace and Isolation was one of those songs that just proved to me what you can do vocally. So sorry we're getting on a tangent, but we're super passionate about the music we produce.
I hope everything hits somebody. Like it all, even if it hits one person, that's really important to us because we hope it impacts them, you know?
Yeah. Well, and I record all of our songs for us. I do all the engineering, all the production.
Ass bitch.
And, you know, it gets me so involved in the production of these songs that, I mean, it's like a piece of me when I do it. So, you know, that was one of the reasons why we've chosen the lineup that we have, because I want to make sure that if I'm doing these types of production and these types of things, that people understand that that's how close we want to be to these things, and we're putting a polishing touch, and you know, we want people that are aligned with that vision. And it's amazing. We have just an incredible lineup in this band. So speaking of, we hope that you come see us. We are playing this Saturday in Denver at Moe's.
The 27th.
Yep. 27th.
Moe's Barbecue.
Moe's Barbecue.
For the heavy meowtle.
Yep. Benefits the kitties. It's for the Rocky Mountain Feline Rescue. All the ticket sales benefit them. So we hope we see you this Saturday night. And then right after that, we'll be coming back to Fort Collins. We're actually headlining the Aggie for May the 4th Carnage.
May the 4th be with you.
4th Carnage be with you. Because it is the 4th Fort Carnage. Yeah. But we'll be playing that. And then after that, we were fortunate enough to play with In the Whale and supporting 10 Years, the band. If you've ever heard that song, Wasteland, I can't believe we got on that show, but things have been going pretty well.
Talking about imposter syndrome.
Yeah, I mean, talk about it. But for real, you're right. You're right. Hard work pays off, and everybody should be. You should enjoy some of that glory for that hard work that you have. So give yourself a pat on the back. We are As We Rise. This is the Mental Mosh Pit. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you. Love y'all. Bye.
We'll see you next time. Cheers.